Hello, and welcome to Step Up Nigeria's podcast. Our podcast is an initiative built to create awareness of governance issues that highlight the cost of corruption and its impact on service delivery. Our podcast also hopes to build a society of people with integrity by catching them young and by also trying to solve service delivery challenges faced by everyday Nigerians. Welcome.
On our podcast today, we will be discussing tackling social norms that drive corruption, taking lessons from Step Up Nigeria's initiatives over the past 2 years. We discuss key highlights from Step Up Nigeria's use of storytelling and the social norms approach to change attitudes and behaviours around corruption among young people and communities. To discuss this with me today, I have Step Up Nigeria directors, Executive Director Onyi Ough and Program Director Zainab Haruna. Thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoy this episode.
So Onyi, would like to start with you. What are some of the most significant highlights for you from Step Up Nigeria's work over the last, our second year?
Thank you, Farami. I think there's been many highlights this year, but for me, what has stood out really are three things. One, of course, is the film. Because it's something I've been looking forward to from even before Step Up Nigeria was born, and so it's quite nice to see that Emeka's Money anti-corruption storybook has been turned into a film. So that was really exciting. Has been exciting to see. And then the other one is the Step Up Media. Having the YouTube channel actually has been exciting as well to see and seeing the potential it could have. If we have the right content, and it's been, so that's been quite good to see the way it's grown from, 2 followers or something in January to like 619 subscribers, and the amount of content in there within 6 months, has been impressive. And then the learning and development website as well has really, also been exciting for me because it's something as an anti-corruption practitioner, even before Step Up Nigeria, I've always wanted to do. I'm quite happy that, somehow, even though it wasn't even in the original design, it was COVID that brought up, that made that happen. And so somehow something that I've always wanted to do, as an anti-corruption practitioner is now even coming to light as COVID. So I'm happy with that as well. And just because the learning and development website, I see it as a potential tool, for doing, anti-corruption trainings in a more cost-effective way. Even though for now we're just targeting teachers and we're still trying to find out the technology and trying to, know which target audience would benefit from it the most. But I really see going forward the potential for that being, our key go-to website that people, doctors can go to, journalists can go to, different people can go to learn, to get their how-to guide, on anti-corruption.
Thank you very much, Onyi. So Zainab, what would you say from your end has been most significant about the past year?
Thanks, Farami. I think for me, everything that Onyi has mentioned has been quite exciting. And in addition to that, I'm thinking a lot of the results that we're seeing from our work are very encouraging as well. It's one thing to go to schools and speak to children and try to educate them about corruption, and living there hoping that you've made a change, but coming back and actually seeing the change. We have a lot of the children, some of the feedback that we're getting on some of the actions that they are taking, speaking to their parents, talking to their siblings, challenging their friends, asking their people around them to act more honorably, act with integrity, even speaking up to their teachers as well. All of that we see is coming out as a result of us going to schools and talking to children about the negative impact of corruption and why they should take a stance against it, and seeing them actually take that stance, I think for me has been really fulfilling. And it's significant for our work because it's showing us that we can achieve this change that we're looking to make. If we work with children, we will see the results that we're hoping to get. And hopefully as we expand and we reach more children in our programs, those children, there will be a ripple effect through our Young Anti-Corruption Champions program, where they will now influence other people as well, other children around them. And eventually we'll be able to have like this collective of young people that will champion the cause of corruption and anti-corruption in Nigeria. So that for me has been really exciting.
Thank you, Zainab. And I would just like to add, piggy banking from that is how our young anti-corruption champions have started to become more known. So we've gone to schools, spoke to them about the dangers of corruption, and now we have young anti-corruption champions who have traveled outside Nigeria to give public speeches. We have more champions who have written poems, who have spoken up in their families, who have spoken to their parents about stopping corruption that they see them doing. So we have actual proof that we're raising young people. Whatever the number, we have a young army of people who are taking a stand against corruption, which is fantastic. So Onyi, as an anti-corruption expert, it's been 2 years of testing the storytelling approach to tackling social norms that drive corruption. Do you believe this is a novel or a good approach to tackling corruption, and any successes from that approach so far?
So thank you, Farami. It's still early days to conclude fully if this is the, I would rather use best approach to tackle corruption. However, I would say the early results we're seeing is really encouraging. The fact that, like Zainab had just mentioned, just going to schools and then actually seeing, because it's one thing when you're designing these things, sometimes we say, yes, we want to train children and hopefully they start to act, but you don't really know how that action is going to happen. You don't really know, if it's really going to happen, but you're hoping that it will happen. And then when you actually design an initiative and you're seeing some of the results, and you're actually seeing people reporting changes, then I think it's very encouraging. So some of the results, so the storytelling actually is quite impactful. And storytelling is not just, it's something that, and many organizations are also beginning to use that term these days. Everybody now is also talking of storytelling because they're seeing the potential it has. I mean, the Bible, the stories in the Bible is, through storytelling. For those of us who used to watch Tales by the Moonlight those days on Sunday evenings at 5 o'clock, it was our stories, about why the lion has this or why the tortoise has no. There's something about storytelling, right? Storytelling captures the minds of people. It gets you interested and it resonates with you. And I think if that has worked in other areas, I'm not surprised that it may have the potential to work in the field of anti-corruption. And what we've seen with Emeka's Money and Halima's Vote, Tosin's story, children reading it, they begin to think about the character, they begin to kind of, think through the situation, they begin to, it kind of resonates with them, right? And which is why I'm not too surprised we are seeing some of the impact that's, rather early results that we are getting. Like, for example, the fact that many students, now have made pledges not to sell their votes in quotes, for the purpose of those who don't know, some schools in Nigeria do hold student elections. And the practice from what we gathered from the targeted schools we've been to is that people tend to, bribe other students with sweets, biscuits, whatever favors at that level that they give to each other to get them to vote for them. Or reading Halima's Vote and seeing the fact that the mindset of children are changing towards this attitude of giving gifts to actually, rather campaigning properly and convincing people on why they should vote for them. I think that is very encouraging to see because we may think that something as trivial as children giving each other sweets to vote for them may not really have, but it does have an impact. And I know I used to hear stories of even parents, help giving them, those sweets and things to share. I know people who have done that. Their parents actually even encourage that because that's like what we've accepted as the norm, right? In Nigeria here to some extent where vote buying is quite common. So the parents even to get their children to get those positions in that school prefect or whatever elections they are vying for. It's if their parents are supporting that, the kids think that is the right thing. So I'm happy that with our messaging, possibly those kids may even begin to influence their parents in some way that no, actually they told us that it's actually not good. I don't really need to give them sweets. I think it's okay, mommy. I can actually just talk to them and to be fine. And you could see that sometimes we've not really seen evidence of this, but there's a potential it could have. And we may never even hear that because these are things that happen in the home. We've not really started hearing stories from how our work is influencing children at home, but in terms of the parents' angle. But I think it has the potential of also changing parents' mindset in this area. So just even from that example, and also the fact that children are also beginning to get more encouraged to challenge, certain, may not always be corruption, but like bad acts or immoral things that they see, or within the school environment is also encouraging, because we want that society where people, have a generation of leaders who do not tolerate, wrongdoing or corrupt practices and things. So I think, so from what we are seeing and some of the feedback from teachers and the students themselves, it's encouraging to see that storytelling really has a potential, a very strong potential to change not only attitudes, but the behavior of children in the area of acting against corruption.
Okay, thank you, Onyi. So Zainab, from that as well, using the storytelling approach is a new area that is still being tested, like Onyi has said. So are there any significant challenges that have been faced and identified? And start with that, and then how has Step Up Nigeria been able to overcome some of these challenges?
Thanks, generally, just looking at where we're at, it's 2020. So of course we've had challenges in because typically what we do is we go to the schools and use our storytelling techniques to engage children within the schools. But of course we haven't been able to do that because of the coronavirus this year. And so we're now trying to pivot. We're pivoting our system, our approach system, and trying to leverage on technology. Onyi mentioned earlier that we have a learning and development website that we set up, and that was in response to the challenge of the coronavirus. How could we continue to engage children and teach them about corruption while they were at home, and we weren't going to work. So that's why we set up that system. And so far there have been challenges. I think fundamentally there's still that digital divide, and we're trying to get technology into the education sector. Our education sector has been primarily face-to-face engagement, so we haven't really used technology until the coronavirus. So that's still presenting some challenges, but I'm hopeful that as we continue to navigate this, because it seems that we might still be navigating this for a while, we will now become more comfortable in using these systems for Step Up as well. But I also appreciate that this extends to many other people who have in-school engagements, and even the children for the education system as well. And also what we're also trying to do, we're also trying to leverage our social media platforms, specifically YouTube, so that we could design easy to watch videos for children that they could watch during this period, and not just for children, also for adults as well, so that they could continue to get access to the learnings, to the teachings, the trainings while they were at home, but in easier to watch mode. So not extensive, lengthy sessions, but quick to watch videos that you could watch and understand what corruption is about and understand a certain aspect of corruption. So we've been rolling that out since March, and so far we've gotten really good views, good hits on that site. And we're always looking out for other ways as well. We've done quite a number of contests online to get more children interested, so that we can share tools and resources with those who are able to participate in the sessions with them. So we're trying out different things. And so far, our reception for our techniques have been very, very welcoming within the school environment, with the children, with teachers as well. And we've even seen instances where, because it's not just about using storytelling, but we make it, we make it fun generally. We make it engaging. It's not like you're coming into a classroom and somebody's talking at you. It's fun, it's engaging. The children participate. There are different activities that they do, so the children actually look forward to it. And we see that some of the schools that we go to, they are, trying to adopt some of the things that we use. So some of the schools are, this is quite interesting, and they are trying to adopt some of the techniques that we use as well. So generally, the reception has been, very welcoming. But of course, we have to, navigate through this coronavirus period for now.
Yeah, thank you very much, Zainab. So Onyi, it's been 2 years again. So what key lessons has Step Up Nigeria learned from work in the past 2 years?
Yeah, thank you, Farami. I think, for Step Up Nigeria has, about 3 program areas. So I think probably I would break them down according to our various initiatives, because I think each of them are unique in its own way, and they all have their different lessons. And one of the things, I'll start with the Citizen Watchdog initiative, which we haven't talked about. So Step Up Nigeria Citizen Watchdog initiative is really around building the capacity of, the grassroots or the community to be able to participate in, in anti-corruption and service delivery, basically governance issues. And we have the public sector audit, which is around equipping citizens with knowledge, on the audit report, and for them to also think about how they can take action based on the findings from the audit report. And then we also have, the community engagement that we're trying to build within communities, where we empower them and build them with the necessary skills to participate effectively in governance processes, particularly around issues on anti-corruption and service delivery. And I think one of the lessons we're learning in this area is around the need, because to really have community anti-corruption champions, to begin to build, strengthen the relationship at the community level, to tackle social norms, and corruption. We really need collective action. So while the Catch Them Young initiative is working with young people in schools, we still need to get those people in the communities who, are not necessarily, they may not be that educated, or they are so poor that they're faced with life issues and they can't, engage, or they don't even know how to engage effectively on these issues, but they would want to, because they're the ones that are really hard hit by the poor governance structures. Those communities that have no access to, good healthcare, they have no access to good schools, they have horrible roads, they don't have power, or their challenges are at a different level. And I think one of the lessons we've learned is the need to, build stronger relationship with those people at that level, at the community level, and work with them more, in working out solutions to the issues within their communities. And we believe that having champions at the community level, particularly community anti-corruption champions like we're having with young anti-corruption champions, may be a good way to start. So we're learning the importance of doing that. So we are hoping that would deepen our work, in that area. And we're also learning that storytelling as well has an impact in this area. We've used storytelling to tell some of the audit stories, and we saw, the engagement of citizens on social media, towards that story we told using infographics. And we think that we can do more storytelling as well, on some of this, with the audit stories, and also stories coming from communities. Then going to Catch Them Young initiative, I would say one key lesson learned really is the importance of anti-corruption tools and resources. The fact that it's one thing to go and talk to a school and say, oh, corruption is bad, stop from here, that's fine. But I think it goes beyond just a talk or a lecture. And I think what we are finding, and which is why I guess our approach is quite effective, is not just even any tool or resource, user-friendly tools and resources, that children, can use, and still, can use to remember what they've learned during the sessions, and they can use to think about ways they can engage other people around anti-corruption. So anti-corruption tools and resources are really valued, and even the schools have even said it, told us as well, like how valuable they need, those tools are, and how they would, there's a lot of demand for our tools and resources. So it's a critical lesson learned, the importance of tools and resources for anti-corruption education, and equipping schools, with that. And that's one way of ensuring that anti-corruption education is institutionalized beyond the engagement of an NGO or an anti-corruption agency. It's those tools that keep the conversation going, and which is one key lesson learned. Another one is around the important role of teachers. I mean, like, even when we're designing this initiative, yes, we said, yeah, we'll train teachers, but to be honest with you, the more like we're engaging this program, the more I even feel like, teachers actually may even have more role than even anti-corruption agencies themselves, because there's a limit to which we expect so much from anti-corruption agencies. But teachers really, really play a great role that I feel has not even been fully explored yet in building up, because they have that role to build up, that young generation, that future generation. People always, they love they never forget their teachers, right? They can either love or hate them, but they never forget their teachers, either for good or bad. And so the ability to even train those teachers as well around this issue means that, one, where, the key lesson is that it helps to sustain the campaign as well beyond the life of Step Up Nigeria. And then we are sure that the future, the young generation, are being trained, on the right values needed to be anti-corruption champions in society, and which will make them good leaders, in the future. So I think those are the key lessons that I will share, when it comes to, and then also on the Step Up Media, still early days, but one of the things, again, linked to the storytelling, is using that as well, using story, using the media platform, but through storytelling techniques, has a great potential to actually get people beyond the classroom. So most of our initiatives are, we have the Catch Them Young initiative in the classroom, even our community work communities, but even those people beyond, so the middle class, the other people who we need us as well to organize and really join in tackling these norms, these behaviors that drive corruption. And so I've seen the media as a potential to, still very early days, but just seeing it as something, that could actually be that tool, amongst other tools that we have to help tackle, to help, give messaging around the norms that drive corruption, or the behaviors that drive, corruption in our society and even beyond. And yeah, so those are the three key messages from our three work areas, lessons rather, learned, I would say, that I've observed from our three key initiatives.
Okay, thank you very much, Onyi. Zainab, anything to quickly add?
Yeah, I suppose I'd just like to, just one thing which for me has been very eye-opening is how important project design is. So consultative design of projects. So usually what I see in the NGO space is a lot of people sit and design projects for beneficiaries without actually engaging the beneficiaries and carrying them along through the process. And for me, over the past year, what Step Up has done, which has really changed the outcomes of our project, is carrying different stakeholders along. So at the design stage, you have people in and ask them questions and use that feedback to build projects. And even before we even implement, bringing them in and saying, this is what we want to do. We talked to you about this. This is what we want to do. This is how we envisage it going. What do you think? Share your input with us. And using that to design the implementation steps has been really, really key way that we've been able to ensure that we achieve the impact that we're looking out for. And for me, that has been really significant because you see that it helps the stakeholders to buy into the project. They own the project. So they when you go back to them and say, okay, this is what we've done, they know what you're talking about and they are invested in it. And that makes all the difference. And for me, that has been really one of like the key lesson that has come out, and it's something that I'm sure that we're going to continue doing for all of our projects going forward, carrying people along. It makes so much difference and has been a key lesson and helps to change even the way everything, outcomes, implementation, execution, everything just goes along much more smoothly than it would be otherwise if you just went in and started implementing off the bat. So that's just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, thank you, Zainab, and thank you, Onyi. From my experience also working in the FCT, I think Onyi talked about it a little bit, but something that I think it's a key lesson we've learned is the importance of the characters of these stories. So we see from Emeka's Money film, including Emeka's Money, the storybook, and Halima's Vote, we hear feedback from schools, people using these characters in these stories to challenge other students. So in the story of the school where children were stopping selling and buying of votes, you heard them say, be like Halima. In cases where children are maybe helping their friends or doing something bad, they say, are you Emeka's friend? Don't be like Emeka's friend, just pointing out that they understand the importance of these characters, and these characters have become sort of icons, which is the importance of storytelling again, that people can now sort of idolize these characters and then emulate them and then choose the characters who they don't want to be like. So we're learning that character formation also helps children understand these things better. We've really done some amazing work this year, stuff that we should really be proud of. Thank you very much, Zainab, and thank you, Onyi. And thank you all for listening to our podcast. We hope that you listen to previous episodes as well. We have a series on COVID-19 and its effects on different sectors in Nigeria. So please give that a chance. And if you are yet to subscribe to Step Up TV YouTube channel, in this moment, www.youtube.com/StepUpTV, that's our YouTube channel. So please check out our YouTube channel and all the content on there. And please let us know what you think about the podcast and the channel in the comment section there as well. Thank you so much for listening. Also, remember to follow us on social media at step_up_Nigeria. Thank you for your time. And thank you, Onyi, and thank you, Zainab, again.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Farami.